next week could turn out to be crucial for the world of diplomacy. The US president will be hosting his Chinese counterpart in California, and the summit is scheduled for November 15th, and that is next Wednesday. This is going to be only their second face-to-face meeting after Joe Biden took office. The relationship between Washington and Beijing have been on a steady decline. On one instance, China was accused of sending a spy balloon into US airspace, and on another time, US sent its high-level diplomats to Taiwan despite China's warning. So there will be a lot on the table in California. The two wars, one in Gaza and the other in Ukraine, could find its mention. Political analysts say that issues around Taiwan will definitely be discussed, and it's a region that China sees as its own. But the US continues to hold independent diplomatic ties with the island. And speaking of geopolitics, Indo-Pacific is another region that has become a bone of contention. Ongoing trade war, sanctions on chip makers and cybersecurity could also be part of the discussions. Now, US claims it is determined to restore the channels, but in the past, Joe Biden has also targeted Xi Jinping by calling him a dictator. Beijing has also claims that it is willing to cooperate, and Xi Jinping wants to do it on his own terms. There are a lot of issues to wade through for both leaders. The California meeting will be closely watched by not just two sides, but by the whole world. And for more on this, our correspondent Susan Teherani has sent us this report. Listen in.
The last time the two leaders met were at the sidelines of the G20 summit in Bali, Indonesia, back in November of 2022. So you can see it's been a good 12 months and how things have changed in the past 12 months between the two sides. While they did talk about expanding cooperation and more open discussion at that meeting, things haven't really been smooth sailing. So the United States hopes to open those channels of communication, notably when it comes to defense, between the two sides. And, you know, of course, it also comes at a time when just now we're seeing that the Secretary of State and the Defense Secretary, they're on this sort of zigzag tour across Asia, trying to really convince allies that Indo-Pacific is their priority. And one of the main priorities, of course, with allies in the Indo-Pacific is to counter China. Nonetheless, the two leaders really meet at a time, as you mentioned, where there is the issue of the Israel-Gaza war on the one hand, Ukraine on the other. And America is very weary of this new access and new world order that China hopes to sort of lead, if you may, with Russia and other actors.